Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and I just hit 5,000 miles on my new Land Cruiser, which is the first maintenance schedule for the Land Cruiser. If you don't know, you're supposed to take it in every 5,000 miles, and so I figured today's a good day to do an update video with the Land Cruiser, how it's running and all of that. Before we get into this video though, as always, link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Now, 5,000 miles is obviously not a ton of mileage, but with my luck, I usually have something break on a car within 5,000 miles, and we'll go over everything with the Land Cruiser here. First off, I want to talk about the exterior because I do have one slight gripe with the exterior so far when it comes to ownership, and it just has to do with the plastic here. So we've got a lot of plastic here with the fender flares and then also with the front bumper as well. And my biggest gripe is it just shows scratches really well. You guys can see here is where I brushed up against a tree a little bit. There's a little bit more there as well. That was just off-road. And again, it's not a deal breaker, but it's like just the slightest abrasion against those plastic fender flares, and it shows pretty much everything. I've had plastic fender flares on other vehicles in the past, like the Grenadier that's in the little storage shed, and it doesn't show. I mean, let's go look at the Grenadier so I can show you. So the lighting in here is not going to be great, but I've gone through much more aggressive brush with the Grenadier, and again, it's got these plastic fender flares. You can see here a little bit, and some of that's just dirt, frankly. But again, it just doesn't show up as much here. Like the front one, you can't even tell anything. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like Toyota could have done something a little bit more rugged. Like this is really abrasive plastic versus the Toyota's is kind of like smooth. Now this next thing I knew about before I purchased this, and this is the load floor with the battery. The load floor is higher because of the battery, and they just kind of brought down the roof line, I feel like, compared to the 200 series. But anyways, yeah, not great for storage. I've discovered that quite a few times where I just can't fit things, and I either have to use the Grenadier or the 200 series to fit stuff in the back. So if this is your only vehicle, it could be something that will become quite annoying. Now again, this is something that I knew about before purchasing the vehicle, but opening and closing the doors on this is just so silly because of how plastic it is. I mean, listen to this. It is so hollow, so tin can-like, and the 200 series is not perfect by any means when it comes to being a tin can. It's a little bit more tin can-like compared to the 100 series. But I mean, this is just offensive, and so, I don't know, I wish that Toyota had done a little bit more because it has a Land Cruiser name. Now, something that I have really enjoyed is getting in and out. These rock rails don't get in the way whatsoever. The height is great, so it's easy to step up. And then I like how you've got like this giant handle here to close the door. And then you also have a grab handle to help out as well. So it's like the best of everything when it comes to getting in and out of the car. And then I want to start it up to show you guys something. The fuel economy has been all over the place. You can see maintenance required because I'm at 5,000 miles. So you can see right now 17.6. That's what I got yesterday when it was a colder day. On warmer days, I've been able to get over 20 miles per gallon. And so this car, unlike any other car I've ever owned, seems to be really temperature sensitive with the fuel economy. And so if it's a cold day, fuel economy is not great. If it's a warm day, fuel economy is fantastic. Like the 200 series, for example, I gain or lose a mile per gallon depending on the temperature. This, it's like 3 or 4 miles per gallon. And then some other features that I've actually liked ownership wise so far, the 360 camera system, great. I'm in downtown Salt Lake all the time, and so this helps out with those really tight parking lots and all of that. And then the wireless phone charging pad actually works in the new Land Cruiser, which is nice. Another thing I knew before getting this, that's kind of a complaint, only USB-Cs. I wish that Toyota didn't go all in on USB-Cs because I still have a lot of stuff that has regular USB ports. The cool box has been fantastic. I get a lot of produce and stuff from local farmers. A lot of it's close to where I live, but some of it's farther away. Like I get milk from a goat place up in West Jordan, and so that's like an hour drive away. And so being able to throw some of the stuff in the cool box has been really nice so that it doesn't spoil by the time I get home. So that's been fantastic. And then this is just one more thing before we kind of cap things off with this section of the video. The headroom in the Land Cruiser is good, but it's not like as big as the 200 series. Like I feel kind of more cramped in here, and it just feels like a smaller vehicle in general, even though it's technically the same length and all of that, or roughly the same length. So outside of those minor complaints, most of which I knew before purchasing the vehicle, the Land Cruiser's been flawless. It hasn't hiccuped even once. It's been a super reliable vehicle. Again, 5,000 miles isn't a ton of mileage, but with most of the vehicles I've purchased, I've had something break within the first 5,000 miles, and with this, nothing. It's been completely flawless so far, so we'll see what the next 5,000 miles brings, but I think that's a decent indication. We'll see at the higher mileage though. Well, now that we're done with the 250, I want to give a few more updates in this video, and one of them is going to be on the 200, one of them is going to be on the Grenadier. So with the 200 series, we're almost at 25,000 miles, and so once we hit that 25,000 mile mark, I am going to have an update on this for those of you that are looking for an update on 200 series ownership. I know a lot of people are thinking about buying one of these because of everything that it provides, and so I will have an update pretty soon. I think we're at like 23, almost 24,000 miles, so it'll happen soon. We rack up the miles quickly on these cars. And then with the Grenadier, I'm at over 6,000 miles with this. I'll probably hit 10,000 relatively soon, probably in the next 2 months, and so we'll have an update on everything at that point. The only minor update that I can give you guys at this point is I am starting to get some noise back here, kind of like some creaking. I don't know exactly where it's coming from. I don't know if it's because of the larger spare tire. The stock size for the Grenadier is 265 by 70 by 17. I upgraded to a 285 by 70 by 17, so pretty small compared to what most people are putting on their Grenadiers. A lot of people are putting 34s, even 35s on these. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just noticed there's some noise back there, kind of like some rattling, and figured I'd put that in this video. But we'll have more updates at the 10,000 mile review. Now, I do want some input from all of you. I am planning on doing a three-way off-road comparison with all of the vehicles this weekend. And here is my kind of thoughts for the route. So the first part is just basically this dirt road here. The camera will focus. And here's my thoughts on this. So this dirt road is not challenging when it comes to off-road capability, but what it is very bumpy. There's some articulated sections, and so this will show suspension comfort of a vehicle off-road. Basically, how fast can I go down this, right, safely, and then how comfortable is it? Am I getting knocked all over the place? Is it, you know, jarring, all of that kind of stuff? And so that's kind of my thoughts with the first part, is just go through a dirt road, because here's the deal, 95% of off-roading is dirt roads. Like, this is something that people don't really talk about a lot with off-roading, because it's the boring part, right? It's the stuff that you have to go through to get to the fun obstacles. And so I figured that it would be important to show that in like the first part of the off-road comparison, is just, hey, how comfortable are the vehicles on kind of like dirt, you know, covered, rugged terrain? Like, look at this. Again, this is not difficult by any means. It's you know, it's rutted out in certain sections, but it's not really going to test a car's, I mean, it'll push the four-wheel drive system a little bit because of grip, but yeah, so that's kind of like the first section that I was thinking about, is going through this, seeing how comfortable the cars are, and seeing just how the suspension handles everything. And then this is my thought for the next little part of the video, is just to add a few of these dirt bike ramps. And the reason being is they are very, very steep. And speaking of steep, I mean, this one actually might be too much for the vehicle. Yeah, look, I literally just completely maxed out, and I'm not even up to the top. So maybe not this one, but I think you guys get the point. So I figured it might make more sense just get out of the car and show you guys, because whenever you're inside of a vehicle and filming, it just never looks like anything in person. But here's the next one I'm thinking about. So it kind of slopes down here, and by the way, this is like very slick stuff. And then it comes down to this. This is probably, gosh, I don't know, maybe 30 degrees almost. So it's steep. And then looping through there, and then you guys can see that hill to the side. That's another like almost 30 degree. I don't think it's quite 30 degrees. I think it's sub 30 degrees. But basically this would test the traction coming down a steep hill, and then that would test the traction going up a steep hill. And so then, you know, at this point in the review, we would know how comfortable the suspension is. We would also know how good the grip is going down really steep things as well. So I know Toyota's inclinometer isn't perfect, but you guys can see this isn't the steepest part of the hill, but I mean, it's pretty much 30 degrees. So I mean, that's gonna really test grip and then approach and departure angles. And also a big plus of this route is you get really pretty mountain views. I mean, look at that. That one right there is over 12,000 feet above sea level for the peak elevation. Pretty cool. The next section here, I'm not sure if this would be worth putting in the video or not, because this is to get up to a much more difficult obstacle. Basically, just very rocky, not super steep, probably 20-something degrees, and then it comes up to this ledge here. Again, this is why I'm thinking, I don't know if it would be worth putting in the video, because it's not that, I mean, it's pretty small overall, and then it's kind of articulated once you get up there to the top. So I don't know, it might be worth putting in the video, it might not, but let me know what you think about this little section right here. And I mean, this is why I'm hesitant to put this in the video. You guys can see the pitch and roll is not super aggressive with this section. Again, it does still push the grip of the tires and the vehicle to an extent, but it's not, I don't know if it's YouTube worthy. Now we're at the last section here, and this is the most difficult out of everything. So you've got these large rocks to have to negotiate. Again, it looks tiny on camera. Everything's gonna look tiny on camera. I mean, even the Land Cruiser looks tiny on camera. But yeah, super steep climb, and then it gets hard again at the very top. Now, the reason that I like this is there's actually this little bypass. So this is the super tough section, and then there's this little bypass over here that's actually still very difficult in terms of grip. It's just not as difficult in terms of articulation and everything. Like this, you just have to have really good tire grip and kind of get around. The other section, you've got to be articulated and then push up. Like it's some, again, it doesn't look like much on camera, but it's some pretty challenging stuff, because it's probably at about a mid-20s, almost 30-degree incline, and then having to get over a rock. So that's very difficult for a vehicle to have to do. And so I think this would be like a good end to the test to see just how capable each of the vehicles are. So here's what we'll do. I want you guys to comment down below which sections you want to be included in the video. So section 1 is going to be the dirt roads to test the suspension. Section 2 is going to be those like steep kind of little bike chutes that'll test the grip and everything at a very steep incline. Section 3 is going to be that section that's kind of a little bit off camber, not a super steep climb, but you know, tilted to the side. And then section 4 is this. So just let me know, out of the 4 sections, do you guys want all 4 to be in the video, or do you just want a few of them? Like, do you want, like, I'm thinking 1, 2, and 4. That's my personal take, but I'll see ya.